Today is November the 4th, 2015, and I don't want to keep talking about that girl in the classroom or the girls, and there's so many stories about that. The main thrust of some of my remarks here within the last couple of videos is white liberals, um, black. I've qualified black and white. They don't exist. They're only people. But there are some people who assign themselves to a certain place. You can put anybody, any person of stature, mayor, president, movie star, beauty queen, in the woods for 2 days without soap, water, and a toothbrush. Every one of them will stink. They will stink more than anything in the forest. They will stink more than anything in the jungle. You could find them by how much any one of the people that I mentioned would stink. The so-called black woman stinks not only from her smell, not only because of the way she deals with finances, the way she treats her children. I did this video, I showed this, and it never ceases to be disgusting. But I'm going to go a little bit further, where this baby is going to go from where she's starting. We have history. White people will look at this and think they're having fun. Bring it back, bitch. Bring it back, hoe. Shouldn't this little girl be listening to nursery rhymes? There's some pedophile, because one thing about these girls, after a certain age, they don't want to. Men don't want to. These simps don't want to have sex with them. They want something fresh, like that baby. So they'll do whatever. But that person has got their eye on that baby, waiting for it to even maybe at this point, it's being molested. Let's zoom ahead. This is where they grow up into. That's way too much for me. I'm just trying to bring awareness of how far the so-called modern black woman has fallen.
Thanks to everybody.
This lady just lost her 9-year-old son to a murder. You can look the story up. I think it's in Chicago. So many of them, I can't keep up with it. But the one thing that I want you to pay attention to is there are no tears falling from her eyes. Not that I would believe her anymore, but the black woman, the modern, so-called modern black woman, is so soulless that she can't even make tears.
Donate. Thanks for all y'all support. I really appreciate it. I just never knew I was gonna have to bury my son this early. All I can do is just pray and just hope God. Thanks for everybody that's helping out. This shit hurts. It hurts. I miss my son. I miss my son so bad. Oh my God. It's for everybody that's helping. Go donate to fund me, please.
Everything with the black woman revolves around currency. They will kill their kids. They will pimp their kids. They will prostitute their own children for money. I just got through spending some money on breakfast. Tommy Sotomayor, I don't have any heroes except for Jesus, but thank you for the things. Thank you, Tommy Sotomayor, for what you do.
This is Billy Minardi Hall, the on-campus dorm at the University of Louisville that houses athletes and other students. It was named for head basketball coach Rick Pitino's late brother-in-law, who was killed during the terrorist attacks of 9/11. But it's now also known as the backdrop for a recruiting and sex scandal.
If there was any wrongdoing, it's a big if, and people have to pay for their crimes, and that's an if. I hope those ifs are not true, because that building means a great deal to me.
This is the woman behind all those ifs.
This is the woman. This is what's behind the issues in the so-called black community. She, with her symbolism, do your own research, but she is basically a handmaiden of Satan. She represents everything that this video is about. Mainly, the black woman hates her children, and she sees her children as a resource.
Make this up if I wanted to.
Katina Powell, a 42-year-old self-described former escort, who says she detailed in her personal journals the roughly 4 years she brought dancers and escorts to campus to entertain basketball players and recruits. She says it began in 2010 when she met this man, Andre McGee, then a graduate assistant for the Louisville basketball team, who, at the time, was living in the dorm with the players.
Andre was the one who always had the money, passed out the money, made it.
Take note, men, especially black men. They will do their thing, and they will get in court, They will get on television and they will bust you out. They will put you on blast. They will rat on you.
Made the deals, paid for the deals. He would start the music, and usually the girls would come out one by one, and they would dance for the recruit. And he asked me, "Is there any girls that wanna, make extra money, pretty much side deal with the players?" And I was like, "I'll ask." So I asked the girls,
Sex has been going on since the beginning of time. Why did anybody need her to facilitate? Why do you need them contacts in? You look evil. You look evil.
I want to make extra money, and their eyes just lit up like, well, yeah.
When Andre approaches you and broaches the subject of would some of the girls do side deals, did you negotiate terms?
I just knew side deals was sex. Side deals were sex, and if they wanted to make extra money, that's what the side deal was. Sex.
Powell says she had sex for money with one Louisville recruit and repeatedly with the parents or guardians of recruits. She says roughly 24 dancers worked for her from 2010 to 2014.
In case you haven't noticed, I would give them money not to touch me. Where'd they get that white girl from? She must have been desperate.
Andre would come to me, tell me what girl the recruit wanted. I would tell the girl, and she would say her price. I would tell him. He would say okay, and her and the recruit would do what they did behind closed doors.
Powell says many of the 21 shows she did on campus.
Now, where there's one, it's no fun. Where there's two, you better run. And where there's three, I will not be. In case you forgot, this is the black mother. The baby should be listening to nursery rhymes, in my opinion.
Included her own 3 daughters. We spoke with her 2 oldest, Lindsay, 24, and Rodney, 22, who both say they also sold sex for money. Do you remember who the player was that you did a side deal with?
Russ Smith.
How did it come up?
Men, white men, black men, raise your standards. Raise your fucking standards.
That you and Russ Smith had a sexual encounter.
I believe that McGee came to my mom and
said something to her about it. And my mom came and asked me, and I was like, okay. And we went in another room, and we had sex.
These are photos taken from inside the basketball player's dorm. That's Katina and her daughter Rodney. Rodney with Louisville player Russ Smith. And Rodney with another former Cardinal, Montrezl Harrell.
Ugh.
How many times did you have sex with a player or a recruit?
One time, Montrezl Harrell was there, and I don't know, I guess he felt left out, so he just kind of asked me if, I would do it. And I did it. I got paid like $100, maybe a little more.
In addition to Powell and her daughters, Outside the Lines has spoken with two other women who danced at the parties. Both of the women asked to remain anonymous. A recruit.
One time, Montrezl Harrell was there, and I don't know, I guess he felt left out, so he just kind of asked me if, I would do it. And I did it. I got paid like $100, maybe a little more.
In addition to Powell and her daughters, Outside the Lines has spoken.
Please observe everything, but mostly the hair weaves. That is white supremacy. That's white supremacy. Black women saying on one hand that they are whatever they say that they are, but on the other hand, they do everything to show you that they are conquered by the idea that white people are superior. And so they depict themselves as much as they can as being white while they wreak havoc on the black man and this men, because they're going to have to answer to Rick Pitino for what they've done, and to the University of Kentucky, Louisville, it doesn't matter.
Two other women who danced at the parties. Both of the women asked to remain anonymous. One of those women told Outside the Lines that she was paid to have sex with a recruit during a party she danced at here at Billy Minardi Hall. In addition, a former Louisville player who asked to remain anonymous said he was given a stack of $1 bills by Andre McGee during his recruiting visit in order to tip the dancers. At one point during the evening, the former player said he went into a back room where he then had sex with one of those dancers. Two other former Louisville players and a fourth and fifth player who were recruited but signed elsewhere confirmed that there were parties with strippers inside Minardi Hall. All four of those players also asked not to be identified. One of those recruits who played elsewhere said of the parties, quote, "It was crazy. It was like I was in a strip club." One of the things you said in your journal one time was, "I felt like I was part of the recruitment team."
Yes.
How did you come to feel that way?
I did everything to make those guys sign. When you offer what you offer, then of course, hey, I'll sign on the line. If this is what they're giving, they're providing, sure.
Montrezl Harrell, Jaquan Lyle, Antonio Blakeney, Jordan Mickey.
Just for the record, I don't need a hoe to get me a hoe, okay? I don't need hoes. You mugs, leave the black woman alone. They will put you on blast. They will have you on Outside the Lines on Front Street for something that should be private.
Yes.
You're saying they all had sex on their recruiting visits?
Yes.
And you documented this in your journal?
Yes.
Why did you keep a journal?
Because I knew that this day would come. And I knew that one day they would say, she's lying. I have no reason and I have the need to lie on anyone. I wouldn't want anyone to lie on me. Everything that I'm saying is 100% the truth.
Andre McGee declined to comment for this story. Rick Pitino, meantime, has said from the beginning that Powell's allegations caught him by surprise.
It hit us all like a bombshell. But we will find the truth, whatever that may be, and people will pay the price for any wrongdoing that may occur.
When you did have a conversation with Andre about Coach Pitino and what was said?
I said, does Pitino know about this? And he said, he's Rick. He knows about everything.
Do you believe Rick Pitino knew about it?
This is my theory. 4 years, a boatload of recruits, a boatload of dancers, loud music, alcohol, security, cameras, basketball players who came in at will. You got players that are so loyal to Pitino. Who wouldn't go back and be like, hey, we got dancers and sex and...
I would go back and say, don't fucking go back there. Call the police. Yeah, that's what I would say. Even though black people, they go, you don't talk to the police, you're bad. Fuck them motherfuckers. The same motherfuckers who tell you not to go to the authorities are the same ones who go to the authorities. Alright?
Going on. My thing is, how could he not know?
Ladies and gentlemen, the next few minutes is going to be a public service announcement from me. Dear dear white colleges, don't hire black women. Do not hire black women to cheer for your team, to dance for your team, to fuck none of your players. Do not invite any black women who are strippers. Number one, to all of you white colleges out there, if you have any money, if you're going to hire any strippers, do not hire black ones. Number one, their hair ain't real. It might fall off on you. Number two, if you look at their skin, all these motherfucking whores' skin look like just bullshit. I told y'all in the last story, some reason these bitches will not take care of their skin, but they will take care of their fucking weave and have brand new fresh ass weave in their head. Now here again, 3 women in this story, each one had weave. Yet you still keep hearing these black whores tell you, white women wear weave too. White women clean their face. Maybe you should try that too. What I want to do is make sure that you guys understand. You remember what happened to the Duke lacrosse team? They tried to hire a black whore to come and strip. The whore tried to ruin the whole team. Remember what happened to Brian Banks? He just tried to kiss a black whore, and she went and told everybody she got raped. Now, again, if you white, you be smart not to do this, because let me tell you why. Because if we as black men had ever went to any dorm, say if a bunch of white girls came to Morris Brown and accused the Morris Brown football players of raping them, and came to find out they didn't. Or, let's just imagine, some black students was with white girls, and the white girls were strippers and whores. And the strippers and whores slept with the black dudes on campus. And all they did was have sex with them, and then all of a sudden, the white girls were out making videos, writing books, and getting black folks fired. What would you hear? You'd hear black women saying, that's what you get for sleeping with them white women. Soon as
That's what you get. That's what you get for messing with black women. I think the video speaks for itself. I'm not going to keep you guys much longer than this. But as always, I say, when there's one, there's no fun. Where there's 2, you better run. And where there's 3, I guarantee you, I will not be. Make your own videos. Do your own research. Do not have sex with the black woman, because your children will end up being strippers, or end up being murdered, or end up being prostituted by their mothers. Good night.